Welcome to another episode of the Pocket Presence Podcast with your host, Alec Pecano. On tonight's show, we're going to go over our game picks for Week 2 of the NFL season, power rankings, and much more. Let's hop right in and do our game picks first. We start on Thursday. We start with the primetime game. So Thursday night, we have the Commanders and the Packers. The Packers are 3.5-point favorites. 48.5 is the total. And if you're betting on this game, we are taking the Packers at home, but I do like the Commanders. They're not in our cover pick. Our upset picks. But we are taking the Packers to win this game. But I would take the Commanders to cover the spread of 3.5. It is that simple and easy. Now we get to the other primetime games, which there's 3 more. We got Sunday Night Football, Falcons-Vikings in Minnesota. The Vikings are a 3.5-point favorite. And the total is 44.5. I'm going to say this before I give you the pick. I like taking, this is one of our over-under picks, so I will give you the answer to that in a few. But we are going to take the Falcons here. I do like what I saw from J.J. McCarthy on Monday night. But I need to consistently see it to actually believe that J.J. McCarthy is going to be a good quarterback in Minnesota. If he can put another performance together like he had Monday night on Sunday night this week, maybe I'll start buying into it. But we are going to take the Falcons. The Falcons offense looked really good against the Buccaneers on Sunday. Michael Penix looks like I'm not going to say a veteran yet, but he looks like a good young quarterback. And the Falcons, I think, have found their franchise QB. Now and I said we are taking the Falcons. We are. Monday night, you got a doubleheader on Monday Night Football. Starting at 7 p.m., you have the Houston Texans at home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The spread is Houston. The Texans are favored by 2.5 points. The total is 42.5. And we're going to roll with the Buccaneers here against the Texans. I do not like what I saw in week 1 from the Texans offense. They did not look good. And their offensive line scares me. Their offensive line scares me a whole bunch here. So therefore, give us the Buccaneers. The other Monday night game, Chargers and Raiders. Now, if you were going to tell me before the season that both these teams were going to be 1-0 after week 1, I would have told you maybe the Chargers, the Raiders. I'm kind of buying into the Las Vegas Raiders being good this year. But here's the total is the Chargers are a 3.5-point favorite. Total is 45.5. I'm going to give you one bet on this game. If you're betting on this game, take over 45.5 points. I think there's going to be a ton of points at stake in this game between the Raiders and Chargers. And with that being said, the pick is in. We are taking the Los Angeles Chargers to beat the Las Vegas Raiders. Now we get to the Sunday games. We start the early window with the Bengals and the Jaguars. And hearing from head coach Liam Cohen this week, rookie phenom Travis Hunter is going to get more snaps on defense this week. I don't think that's going to change a thing, though. The Jags beat a bad team in week 1. The Jaguars did not beat. They won their week 1 game, but it was not pretty. If they play that way against the Bengals this week, it's not going to end well. And the spread is Bengals minus 3.5, total 48.5. And we're gonna roll here with the Bengals. I think the Bengals are gonna win. We think the Bengals are gonna win this game. So give me the Bengals. Cowboys and Giants is the next one. The Cowboys are a 5.5 point favorite. 44.5 is the total. Giants fans, I would not show up for this game. And the Giants, I would just stay in the locker room. The Cowboys are going to be ticked off. They lost due to half the cause being CeeDee Lamb, but also due to playing the Eagles week 1. So we are going to take the Dallas Cowboys for one of the few times this year to beat the Giants. And I like the Dallas Cowboys to also cover the spread. Next one is the Lions and the Bears. And the Bears are coming off of a hard-fought game in week 1 on Monday Night Football against the Vikings that they barely lost. The Lions are favored by 6.5, total 46.5. And the pick is easy for me here. I do like the new culture that Ben Johnson's instilling in Chicago. But I think we might be a year behind. We might be a year early on the Bears actually doing something. And 2026 might actually be their year. So we are going to take the Lions here. And I also like the Lions to cover that 6.5. Rams and Titans is next. And the total is, the line is Rams minus 5.5, total 41.5. Okay, so here's what I have to say about Cam Moore. Yes, he had a good NFL debut. My only issue is his receivers were gosh darn awful in week 1. If he had better receivers, the Titans probably win that game. And I'm not looking at Calvin Ridley. I'm not looking at Chika Okonkwo. I'm looking at Elliott Manor. And I'm looking at a couple other guys. Tony Pollard had a below average decent game. But I think the Titans are another team that maybe is a year out from actually being really good. So we're going to take the Rams here. And I would even take the points if I'm taking the Rams. Take the 5.5. It's worth it. Patriots Dolphins is the next one. Dolphins are 1.5 somehow. I don't get where the money's going on this game. There's absolutely no reason the Dolphins should be favored, but they are. The Dolphins are 1.5 point favorites at home against the Patriots. The total is 42.5. But that's not going to steer me and all of us away from taking the Patriots here to win this game and probably a blowout. Because if you saw the Dolphins last week, they let up 33 points to Daniel Fluffin Jones and the Colts. Do I need to say it again? Daniel Jones, the guy that got let go by the Giants. Daniel Jones. If that doesn't tell you all you need to know, I don't know what does. There's no way the Dolphins win this game. And I'm sorry, Dolphins fans. There's no way you win. You're going to start 0-2. And that train for Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel is going to start to get hotter. And I do have a poll up on my YouTube for Dolphins fans to chime in on, and all NFL fans. The next game is the 49ers and the Saints. The 49ers are 3.5-point favorites. 40.5 is the total. And the Niners are traveling across the country to New Orleans. I would take the thing. We are taking the 49ers, but this is one of the ones I wouldn't be surprised if it's an upset because Brock Purdy's out. Jawan Jennings is probably up in the air to play. Purdy's out. Kittle's out. So it's Mac Jones starting at quarterback and Jake Tonja starting at tight end. We are still going to take the 49ers, but I would feel a lot more confident if Brock Purdy was playing, but he's not. And I don't know how confident I am in taking the 49ers, but we have the 49ers down on the sheet, so we're going to take San Francisco. Bills and Jets is the next game. And yes, we do have the Jets later on in the episode again. But the Bills are 6.5-point favorites. The total is 46.5. If you're betting, I'm going to give you, for the next few games, I'm going to give you one bet I like. And in this game, it is the over. You saw the Bills' defense last week. They looked horrendous. I would easily take over 46.5 in this game if you're going to bet. And I might take the Jets plus the 6.5 to cover. But with that being said, we are taking the Bills to win this game. Next game, Seahawks and Steelers. The Steelers are 3.5-point favorites at home. 39.5 is the total, which it looks like so far that's the lowest total of the week. We are going to take the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Sam Darnold looked okay in his first start as a Seahawk. The thing that scares me about the Seahawks, though, is if they can have both running backs going at an alarming pace. Charbonnet had a touchdown last week, 47 yards rushing. Kenneth Walker was okay, but we are going to take the Steelers. Browns and Ravens. The Ravens are 11.5-point favorites. Total is 44.5. And this is the easiest game of the week. I would take the Ravens minus 11.5, and we're going to take the Ravens to win this game. And I believe we got every single early game. So now we move on to the late games. There's 3 of them. Colts and Broncos is the first one. And the Denver's the Broncos are a 1.5-point favorite. Total is 43.5. And we are going to take the Denver Broncos here, and I would also take the Broncos minus 1.5 to cover because I think Daniel Jones falls back down to earth in this game against the Broncos. The Broncos defense is actually really good, as you saw in Week 1 against the Titans, only giving up 13 points. No. We got Panthers and Cardinals. The Cardinals are 6.5-point favorites. 43.5 is the total. We are taking the Cardinals in this game, and we are also going to take the Cardinals minus the 6.5. And then the final game is the Chiefs and the Eagles. And the point spread is Eagles minus 1.5. And the total is 46.5, the highest total of the week. And we are going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to beat the Kansas City Chiefs. And let us there we go. Let us get to our power rankings from week 1. At number 10, we've got the New York Giants. I really like Aaron Glenn as the head coach of the Jets. And I think the Jets can ascend up these power rankings. If you don't see your team in the power rankings this week, doesn't mean they won't be in the power rankings the following weeks. But that's number 10. The reason the Jets, and I also like the Jets defense, even though they gave up 40 points to the Bills. I still think the Jets defense is going to be good this year. At number 9, we have the Denver Broncos. The Broncos improved in the offseason, and they won week 1. Simple, easy. Put them at number 9. Number 8, the Cincinnati Bengals. I think the Bengals, they did win barely in week 1 against the Browns. And because the Browns the Browns kicker missed the extra point to tie the game. But of course, it's all predicated on the Bengals offense. The Bengals offense is good, which is going to need to be because the defense is still suspect. Even through one game and only giving up 16 points, I still have my withdrawals about the Bengals defense. At number 7, I have the Minnesota Vikings and I like J.J. McCarthy. I like J.J. McCarthy, and I think he's going to be a good quarterback. Number 6, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers survived against the Falcons on Sunday. Emeka Egbuka is going to be a superstar. I understand Chris Godwin's going to be back soon, but I think Egbuka still has a big role in the offense, even when the Buccaneers get Chris Godwin back. At number 5 is the Los Angeles Rams. And the Rams won on Sunday, 14-9 over the Texans. And the Rams defense is really good. Really good young defensive line and the secondary. The Rams are a scary team. At number 4, it's the Commanders. The Commanders, I think they found the next Bucky Irving and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. And if somehow he's available in your fantasy league, highly recommend adding him off the waiver wire. At number 3 is the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders, I like the additions that they made in the offseason of Geno Smith and bringing Pete Carroll in to be their head coach. I think those are some good moves by the Raiders. At number 2 is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yes, I know Aaron Rodgers is 40 years old, but I think this offense is going to be good. even with adding DK Metcalf. And number one, Philadelphia Eagles at number one. The defending Super Bowl champions won week one. And that wraps up the power rankings. Now we get to our upsets. Our first upset pick is the Cardinals, the Arizona Cardinals, to upset the Carolina Panthers. And I like this upset for many reasons. Bryce Young did not look good in week one, and the Cardinals improved a lot on defense. And I'm pretty sure this upset's going to happen too. The second upset is the Jets to upset the Bills. Now, will this one might not happen, but I have it on here for a reason. I think there's a chance it happens. And our last upset is the Patriots to upset the Dolphins. Obviously, you heard me say, I don't know why the Dolphins are even favored by 1.5 points. I think the Patriots are going to run them out of Hard Rock Stadium on Sunday. So give us the Patriots to upset the Dolphins. Our over-unders. We're going to speed through these. We've got over on the Browns and Ravens, 45.5 points. We've got over on the Falcons and Vikings, 44.5. And we've got under 42.5 points in the Broncos and the Colts game. That will wrap up tonight's episode. Well, no, it won't. Hold up. I'm working on merch for the Pocket Presence podcast. Give me a couple days. The merch will be out. But if you want merch for the other two shows that I run, the Saturday Night Lights podcast and the Blitz and Glory podcast, and the third podcast I'm starting at the end of this month, the Baseline Report podcast for the NBA. All that merch is up on the website. Go check it out. GameTimeLocker.com. Link is in the bio. If you haven't subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any future podcast episodes. Have a wonderful rest of your Thursday night.